Check out these cool pieces of gear. You may recognize them from movies and stuff, but we have some surprising news. One of these is being developed even as we speak. Pretty exciting stuff. Can you guess which one? There is an easier way to find out, of course, and that's to watch our video on the most insane combat protection gear. One hard and fast rule of combat is this: the more protection you have, the better off you are on the battlefield. However, when it comes to body protection, a heavy suit of armor can be a help as well as a hindrance. Take a character such as RoboCop, who's covered in a hard shell. Sure, he looks cool, but he famously moves like he's got piles, right? That's the kind of situation the US Army are hoping to avoid, and that's why they're introducing a new SPS, or Soldier Protection System, on frontline troops. It's seen as the next level for PPE, a personal protective equipment system. The emphasis is on weight and flexibility. Let's look at the trio of subsystems that makes up the SPS. There's your VTP, Vital Torso Protection, and TEP, Torso and Extremities Protection. These comprise a newer kind of vest that's modular and, above all, is scalable, i.e. it can be as flexible or heavy-duty as the soldier needs. Beforehand, a serviceman or woman would have to put up with one plate that, as you can imagine, was very heavy. This new arrangement adds 3 smaller plates that are believed to be better for female soldiers and also shorter men. A new ballistic combat shirt makes room at the back of the collar for something like a hair bun. Makes sense for both women and anyone else who wants to tie their hair back. Strap mechanisms have also been adjusted for greater comfort. While it's hoped the SPS is better suited for females, the idea is to improve the soldier's quality of life generally. The word used to describe these systems is tailorable, giving them a less formal feel. Still hardcore, but also something that will deliver comfort in a combat situation. Sounds strange, but the last thing you want to be worrying about under enemy fire is how restrictive your armor is. If you do need to ditch the vest in a hurry, say you're rescuing someone from a tight spot, there's a rapid 4-point release system. So, in addition to the torso protection measures, you've got an IHPS, Integrated Head Protection System. It has not just one layer of protection, but 2. The second in the shape of a tough lower face guard. The overall weight reduction of the SPS is dramatic. According to reports, vital torso protection is brought down by between 7 and 14%. Torso and extremities protection is down 18 to 20%, and the IHPS reduces weight by 5 to 7%. The lightest stage of the protection can even be worn under regular clothing. Talking of under your clothing, the thorny issue of crotch protection is addressed by the new system. A pelvic shield with adjustable buckles means that soldiers don't get those perpetual wedgies that they sometimes complain about. And let's be honest, who can blame them? The future is looking a bit more comfortable for the brave men and women who serve in the military. But going further forward, what are the next goals for those who manufacture such robust protection? New materials are being explored for their lightness and all-around effectiveness. Materials like spider silk, which would be engineered in a lab. Think that sounds a little bit out there? Then you clearly haven't checked out how strong an itsy-bitsy spider web can be. Staying with the animal kingdom, silkworms are being used in the production of useful textiles. Maybe RoboCop was a bad example to use. We should really be talking about Spider-Man as an inspiration for a soldier of the future. Another good example of super soldier from comic books is Iron Man. Think that sounds fanciful? Think again. The US put a lot of effort into making combat protection gear along those very lines. Talos was the result. It stands for Tactical Assault Light Operator Suit and was spearheaded by America's Special Operations Command, or SOCOM. Working alongside experts from groups such as tech organizations and universities, SOCOM and their Joint Acquisition Task Force, JATF, sought to collaborate in creating a powerful and independent one-man army. While Iron Man is often used as a visual reference, some think a better story to look at is Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein, a giant bug-splattering sci-fi adventure that was made into a Hollywood movie. It might not be the first thing you think of when it comes to being ahead of the curve. However, it did describe within its pages a militarized suit which worked in harmony with its owner. Following on this, the idea with Talos was that individuals would operate inside the suits or exoskeletons rather than have whole armies kitted out like that. Constructed out of smart materials which would be applied in layers, Talos featured body armor made out of polyethylene and an internal system for monitoring the occupant. What you'd have, in effect, is an enhanced human with super speed and super perception. Instead of sitting in a lumbering great tank with limited visibility, you have all the weapons and data you need at your disposal. All you need to do is strap it on. The suit was even designed to have pneumatic ankle and knee joints that save wear and tear on the metabolism. Those guys thought of everything. But if you're expecting to see Talos in action, you'll be disappointed. The project was an ambitious one, and ultimately experts couldn't make it all gel. Maybe it looks fairly straightforward, a supersuit with all these cool things on it, but it isn't as simple as that. Not by a long stretch. Aside from having a casing that can comfortably enclose a human being, you have to consider all the smart tech that must work together to communicate the essential info to the wearer. Info that would be the difference between life and death. The first warning sign was when the initial deadline for a prototype was missed in 2018. That was 5 years after the project was originally announced. In total, approximately $80 million is believed to have been plowed into Talos. Now the idea is thought to be largely abandoned, though scientists are keen to stress that they learned a lot from the experience and that the info acquired can be used in other projects. Meanwhile, some are concerned about what the US's competitors are up to. They want to make their own exoskeletons, and there's a worry the states will be left behind in this area. Russia, for example, have their Ratnik 3 combat suit that's described as being able to camouflage itself, as well as being a formidable opponent in combat. It caused some awkwardness that a rival nation unveiled the suit in the same year that Talos appeared to have difficulties getting off the ground. You win some, you lose some. But in this case, you really would want to win. Marvel Comics should pay us a publicity fee for this video. Why do we say that? Well, we mentioned Iron Man and Spider-Man, and guess what our next entry is called? The Hulk. Actually, it means Human Universal Load Carrier. So we were kidding around. And it's another exoskeleton, though the history behind it is just as interesting. Instead of an all-encompassing suit, this acted more like a cyber backpack made of titanium. Designed to think almost like a person, its function was to boost the amount of weight busy soldiers can carry with their poor, overworked muscles. A soldier strapping on the Hulk was reportedly able to maintain a maximum speed of 10 miles per hour, 16 kilometers per hour, with a load of 91 kilograms, 200 pounds, on their back. The Hulk itself weighed a fairly light 24 kilograms, 53 pounds. And as long as you were under 6'2", it could accommodate you. How exactly does it work? Hydraulically powered, it transfers the substantial weight downwards toward the feet, which in return are clad in exoskeleton shoes. By distributing the weight smartly, it was believed the soldiers would suffer less musculoskeletal damage. It was also highly flexible, with the soldier even being able to crawl whilst wearing the system. The Hulk is also self-reliant, operating via a microcomputer that's built in. The onboard computer reacts to the person's body to deliver the smoothest and least distracting experience possible in such an extreme situation. And there wouldn't be any cumbersome dismantling when you needed to pack the unit away. Apparently, it could all be done and dusted in 30 seconds. So, who came up with this simple and groundbreaking concept? Hulk was the brainchild of a Professor Humayun Kaziruni, who works for a company called Esco Bionics. He co-founded that company and is also director of the Berkeley Robotics and Human Engineering Laboratory in California. The idea for the system was first thought of at the start of the century. By 2009, Lockheed Martin had stepped in to handle the design licensing agreement. It must have looked good because by the following year, a $1.1 million deal was signed with the U.S. Army's Natick Soldier Center. This didn't mean Hulk was going straight onto the battlefield. There were further tests to do first. But the U.S. interest gave designers confidence it was going to be a major deal that would transform the lives of many operatives across the globe. At the Natick Labs, the exoskeleton was put through its paces, with different weather conditions and environments simulated to make sure everything worked as it should. Sadly, this is another project that had amazing potential, but ended up being set aside. How come? Surprisingly, it proved restrictive on certain types of movement. On top of that, it put added strain on muscles, so in the end, it couldn't go ahead as planned. Sometimes it takes years of development only to get in the room and it just doesn't come together. A great shame, but the amount of work that went into the Hulk is awe-inspiring. And who knows, maybe one day the perfect exoskeleton will be battle-ready. One thing's for certain from our rundown, combat protection gear is constantly evolving. Smart materials and tech will probably make some wild ideas come to pass over the next few decades. So it's an area well worth keeping an eye on. Did we feature all the cool stuff you expected from this video? Let us know in the comments. If you liked the video, then click the subscribe button and turn on notifications, and you'll be the first to know when we release a new video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.